The TMJ-TMD conundrum is real and has been puzzling the dental and medical professions for decades. This is the TMJ-TMD Demystified podcast with Dr. Tony Urbanic, where we'll connect the dots between TMD symptoms and the actual cause. We'll tackle common TMD misconceptions and educate you, the practitioner, about a simple, tested, and proven TMD solution that has already provided relief to thousands of patients, while helping practitioners build an additional source of income free from insurance control. Welcome to this episode of the TMJ-TMD Demystified podcast.
Welcome, TMD Warriors. We are gathered here again on a Tuesday morning for the next episode of TMD Demystified. I am Tony Urbanic. Today's episode is a continuation of the primary theme that was started in the last episode, associated or called value-based TMD treatment. Value-based TMD treatment, based on prior work from Dr. Robert Pearl, MD, who is an author, scientist, boarded plastic reconstructive surgeon, who for 9 years was the CEO of Kaiser Permanente and was responsible as the CEO for 10,000 physicians within the Kaiser Permanente system as to how they worked, how they operated, how they were organized. And I had discussed this last episode, a week ago, as an introduction to Dr. Pearl and his works based on his knowledge, being responsible for 10,000 physicians in one of the largest healthcare systems in the United States of America. So he has stats, he has experience, and he isn't afraid to write upon and discuss what he knows and sees. Of course, this is from his opinion, and I've talked many times before, as everyone can have an opinion. You're welcome to it. But he has already established himself as a leader and having a significant insight into our healthcare system. Now, what I am here to do is to apply his efforts and his knowledge and his opinion as it applies to temporomandibular joint issues, temporomandibular joint problem, conundrum, that I have experienced, and I'm trying to teach and become recognized out there as the problems with treating TMD, which I have recognized and parallel what I see with Dr. Pearl. But I give all the accolades to Dr. Pearl with what he says. I certainly don't want to be accused of plagiarism, and I'll give him each and every accolade as to prompting my comments on this. So to go into it briefly again, he feels, his opinion is that the value-based healthcare is a descriptive for the solution for our healthcare system as it is, and you may disagree with this, but breaking down over the past many years to the point where the physicians are burned out, the dentists are burned out. No one is happy about insurance, and I can go on about this. I'm not trying to duplicate his work. I would just suggest you get if you're interested. If you have any interest at all, I would recommend reading his book, which is entitled 2017 work. He also has a book in 2021 which was entitled Uncaring, but his 2017 book is entitled Mistreated: Why We Think We're Getting Good Health Care and Why We're Usually Wrong. Mistreated: Why We Think We're Getting Good Health Care and Why We're Usually Wrong. And I would have to apply that specific statement to the history of the treatment of TMD, TMJ. Some of you may disagree. But what I do know, and I've spoken on before, is in the dental industry, in the dental profession, half the dentists don't want anything to do with TMD because they already know nothing works. They've been burned a few times. I had one of my colleagues recently say, I really would like to treat TMD patients, but I don't want to get married to them. And what did he mean by that? Because they keep coming back. You can't fix them, so they keep coming back. You are married to them, listening to their complaints, their constant complaints. He was an old friend, but we had not discussed this before. That was his one back off in actually trying to help these patients and treat these patients. I don't want to get married to them. Well, that's farther from the truth, and that does not happen when you actually understand the problem, when you understand the mechanism, when you understand the pathophysiology, and you understand a very simple way to treat them. You don't get married to them, you actually fix them. You treat them successfully, and they don't come back. That's the objective. So the point is, 50% of the dentists don't want anything to do with TMD because of various reasons. They know nothing works, and they don't want to get married to them. And then 50% of the dentists, let's just say 49.9% of the dentists, my dental colleagues, make a night guard and give it to the patient and say, here is your TMJ, TMD treatment. And then they think, but don't vocalize to the patient, I hope you don't come back, because they don't want to get married to them in that vernacular. This is what's really going on. And that is why I really like Dr. Pearl. I mean, he's just not afraid of speaking out, telling it like it is. And what he described in the medical industry, which I was raised in, medical school, internship, residency, elbow to elbow with surgeons my entire career in the operating room and in the surgical doctor's lounge and in the luncheon lounge, the hospital lunch lounge. With my medical colleagues, I went through this whole process, and it's not, it's not pretty. I mean, at one time we had a healthcare system that worked much better than our current health system is working. And again, some would dispute that, and that's okay. But right now, he describes the medical industry having significant problems, and we all know that what happens in medicine follows usually fairly rapidly within 10 years or so in the dental industry, the dental profession, which is happening as the DSOs roll out and take a larger and larger share of the percentage of dental patients are being seen, which is only going to increase. And pretty much everybody agrees on that, including the ADA. So I don't want to go down that dirt road. We're gonna talk. I want to emphasize value-based TMD treatment. What is value-based TMD treatment? How do you define it? What is it? How do you apply it to the success of treating TMD patients? That is my only purpose. That is my only purpose. And I will try to be concise on this one and be very direct. So with that as a preamble, Dr. Pearl, again, this was mentioned in the last episode, defines value-based healthcare as having three parts: excellent clinical quality, convenient access, and affordable for all. Three parts. And if you have healthcare, whatever the portion of the healthcare is, the piece of the whole healthcare is, but if you can provide excellent clinical quality, number two, convenient access, and number three, affordability for all, I think we all would agree that healthcare may not be a constitutional right, but we would like to see healthcare available to everyone. That is another debate, not going there. And he further stated that portions of our healthcare system succeed in supplying two of the three, but never all three simultaneously. So we can have quality, clinical quality. We can even make it convenient, but it's not convenient. It's not available to all. Or we can have it available to all and convenient access, but the quality goes down. And I would agree with that. And I would agree that that's exactly what has happened and happening currently in our treatment of TMD, TMJ. Now, again, I'm not trying to necessarily compare physicians with dentists or the medical industry with the dental industry. They do parallel. They have a lot in common. There are a lot of disparities between the two also. But as applies to TMJ, everyone knows that the treatment of that problem has not been effective. So let's attack. There'll be multiple episodes along this same line. This first episode is going to attack the first part of what should be considered quality, high degree of clinical quality, high degree of documented successful clinical results. That is number one, high degree of documented successful clinical results. And with that regard, what I have made a huge part of my career in treating TMD, TMJ surgically for 36 years, and now exclusively non-surgically for 13 years, surgically for 36 years, non-surgically, exclusively non-surgical for 13 years. I think that I have some relevance, at least, to speak on this. And part of my investigation was to provide an independent research study based on a device that does nothing more, nothing less than unload the temporomandibular joint adequately to decrease inflammation within the temporomandibular joint. If you unload your knee, the inflammation will decrease. If you unload the temporomandibular joint, the inflammation will decrease. And the results need to be tabulated independently by an independent university study with IRB approval and follow-up and care investigational review board. And that is what happened when I funded an independent study in 2020 done by Middle Tennessee State University based off of 3,000 successfully treated patients. And I will remind viewers again that anyone who is interested in reading this study, which actually has then created from this study 2 separate independent articles that are out for peer review currently. But this is the white paper of the study itself. And I just wanted to go over just a portion of that study from the viewpoint of having quality, documented, high degree of successful clinical results. So what does this study, which I held up, actually show? What does it say? So the results of this study were tabulated and statistically viewed. So it answered 2 separate questions as to the quality of, first of all, the quality of the pain relief, and secondly, the quality of life after treatment. So the first question was answered and expressed as an average percentage of relief for individual symptoms after completion of treatment. So what this study found, and I'm going to just verbalize the findings, that for each separate symptom, a certain percentage on average of patients responded that this is the percentage of symptoms that were relieved. Basically, the percentage of symptoms relieved by using a device that unloads the temporomandibular joint, thus decreasing inflammation within the joint. So the symptoms applied are, first of all, headache, degree of decrease in symptoms on average, based on the study, which was based on 3,000 patients, was 63%. The degree of jaw pain relief, and these are average now, was 69%. Jaw locking, of course, that can be defined as various kinds of locking. There are various kinds of locking, but decrease in the average percentage of symptom relief was 77% with jaw locking. Neck pain, 65%. Ear pain, 71%. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears, 48%. Subjective hearing loss, which is fullness in the ears, like you've been swimming and can't clear your ear, 59%. Vertigo/dizziness, 64%. And upper back, shoulder, and upper arm pain decrease in symptoms after completion of device and protocol, was 71%. Now, those are averages based on 3,000 people. And then the second question addressed in this study was answered and expressed as an increase in the quality of life in several categories. So first, the study covered the amount of symptoms relieved by that process after completion of the protocol using the device. And the protocol isn't an instantaneous thing. The protocol is 24/7 for 2 months, and then nighttime only indefinitely. And usually these patients were all followed up for a minimum of 4 months to 6 months, and some longer. So it's not it's not an instantaneous result. But the second question, which is the increase in quality of life in certain categories, based on 3,000 treated patients, ability to socialize with family and friends, 70%, perform daily work, an increase of 74%, ability to exercise, walk, jog, and cycle, 75%, sleep at night, 64%, concentrate, I assume that meant concentrate when thinking, or maybe concentrate when you're not thinking. I don't know. You can concentrate when you're not thinking. Concentrate, 73%, and eat, 65%. So those were the results, statistical results in the study, which were in the study presented in a statistical fashion, complete statistical analytical fashion. And then that was summarized in the study based on patients. The question was, what was an individual patient's what was their overall level of satisfaction? So I was looking at here. In summary, patients responded that their overall level of satisfaction after using the Urbanic device, exclude Urbanic, a device that separates the posterior teeth, taking the load off the temporomandibular joint, and for a length of time, decreasing inflammation, thus decreasing symptoms. So let's just call it a device. that does that. And following the protocol, the overall satisfaction of individual patients on average, because most of those patients had multiple symptoms. It was almost never happened that these patients had only one symptom. So if they had a combination of headache, jaw pain, and neck pain, and each of those symptoms went down a percentage of degree, but in combination, what did that add up to their personal satisfaction with treatment? And the average was 85%. That was their response on a survey study. This was a well-documented survey study on 3,000 people. And the conclusion of the study was that, in summary, patients responded that their overall level of satisfaction after using the device and following the protocol was 85% when considering their own number and combination of symptoms. So that's as simple as I can make it. So regarding an attempt to improve the healthcare within the country and improve specifically the healthcare of patients who have the serious debilitating symptoms of TMD, constant and recurring headache, earache, jaw pain, neck pain, tinnitus, subjective hearing loss, vertigo, upper back and shoulder pain, arm, hand, finger tingling and numbness, and various kinds of locking. Those are, and especially in combination of those symptoms, those are debilitating symptoms. Part of the study itself, and one of the articles that is out for peer review, focuses on actually what the effect is on a person with this problem, ability to maintain his employment, and the cost to the patient themselves and the cost to the employer of patients who have these problems, has this problem called TMD, TMJ, cost to the employer, cost to the patient, and cost of service in comparison to other kinds of treatment that inadvertently treat these symptoms without even knowing what the initial cause is. But the comparison of the cost to employers who pay the insurance, the individuals who pay a partial portion of the insurance costs, or the government, and the cost in comparison to other kinds of treatment for the symptoms without treating the root cause, and the comparison of those causes. And we'll go over that at a subsequent episode. So this episode, though, is limited to clinical quality, the clinical quality of treatment, which I've just reviewed for you. So if that makes sense to you, you can see that there is an opportunity to actually treat these patients successfully. If you are interested in learning more on how to treat these patients successfully, there's information available on our website, www.urbanictmj.com. If you'd like to talk to me individually about this, I can be reached at tony@tmjservices.net, our director of education and marketing, and also our director of operations in our company is Naomi Williams, Dr. Naomi Williams at naomi@tmjservices.net. We'll be happy to discuss any questions that you might have, comments, or criticisms. If you would like a copy of this, it is available. Forgot how many pages it runs. It's pretty long, 49 pages. Be happy to send you a copy of the entire study, and you can look for yourself. But we have developed, and we know the parameters, according to Dr. Pearl, what value-based healthcare should be, and I agree with his opinion, and what and that how that applies to value-based TMJ, TMD care. And that is what I have to offer and what I have to teach, and what I have to say, and what I have to say for today. So until next Tuesday morning, I wish you a successful week. I am Tony Urbanic, and this is TMD Demystified.